out the jibber jabber. Don't be babbling like a fool. Say what you got to say. That's all. Then shut your dang pie hole.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Big change up this week. I've got some, how do we phrase this? I've got some duties to attend to. So I'll be doing broadcasts, but we will not be having live segments unless I can manage to pull away, pop on live with you guys and get some discussions done. But this is a very important topic. And it's one that's driving me absolutely bonkers and bananas. And I want you to think about it. It's frustrated the hell out of me, folks, with World War III in Europe kicking off between Ukraine and Russia, and all the countries there promoting war, pushing for war, supplying war. Good God, right? We got that. And then we got China continuously upping their ante in the Taiwan Strait and against the city-state. I want to call it a city-state because it's just a small island, but it is an incredibly powerful island, a lot the way Japan is an incredibly powerful island nation. It's just, anyways, the point is we got World War III kicking off. Yet we spend an inordinate amount of time discussing fruitcakes and their fruit salad eating ways. You know who I'm talking about, the ding-dongs extraordinaire. I don't enjoy talking about freaks. I don't. But the reason it is such a big deal is not because of the moral outrage, which I often express when discussing their influence on our social strata. The problem here is I see the casualties. I see this as the war, the SHTF war that we've talked about waging. And I know it's not often I get to do a daytime drive when my mind is fully awake, but there are casualties to this war. And the left knows it. Now, what do they know? They know that they're converting people to their cause. And they're doing that through the psychological manipulation of children's minds. They're supposed to be learning reading, writing, and arithmetic. They're supposed to be learning basic social skills, not having the world they live in and its norms dictated by a bunch of rainbow-haired freaks. I don't know what color their hair is left and right, but it's any color but that which they were born with. Once again, this is an example of Democrat socialists rejecting who they are and instead pretending to be something they're not. It is all too common to see the psychological expression of mental disorders. Now, let us continue. The war in Europe, particularly I'm speaking of Ukraine, and the battle Ukraine is having with the inhabitants of the breakaway republics that have joined Russia. There are casualties there. It is a war. People are being injured, people are dying, property is being destroyed. There is a cost not only to the people living there, but to the civilians, to the businesses, to the economy overall, and in general around the world. There's an impact. Right now, the war in the United States, also Canada, also Australia, and also Europe and England. I always include England separate because they Brexited. But there's a casualty. It's just not being felt. There is death there. It's just not being counted yet. Every child that they convert into their sick religious belief system that you can choose your gender. You don't get to choose. Some things are out of your hands. You don't get to choose to be 6'6". You don't get to choose to be Scandinavian. You are born who you are and you play the cards you're dealt, period. So it's a sickness and it's being foisted on, it's being taught to accept this sickness. That's what's being taught. So there is a casualty. The loss of an otherwise productive human, the loss of an otherwise normal, rational human. Productivity is lost, expense is incurred, psychological damage is permanent. Every child that thinks they are now another gender or even another species of animal is lost. That is a casualty, folks, a loss. That's what casualty means, loss. Death, that's occurring as well. But every one of these, shall we say, casualties of war are real, and the damages in human value is incredible. We are losing that war right now, and it is our children that are suffering, not Marines and soldiers on the field of battle, not them. It's children. This is a war against children and the future. This is a war against our futures. I do not want another generation of fucked up millennials showing up, or another generation of fucked up centennials. But that is what they're doing right now. That's what they're doing right now, is they're causing casualties, damage, loss, pain, suffering, expense. They're causing an immense amount of damage that's going to be felt in dissatisfaction, loss of productivity. And folks, also the expense of one of these trans people is incredible. And the regret that they have is an expense also. They're psychologically damaged. That's why I spend so much time on this. I'm not homophobic. I'm not transphobic. I'm not xenophobic. I'm looking at productivity and human capacity. The government looks at us as a fucking paycheck. They look at our productivity as an individual and they weigh that year to year and they tax the shit out of us for it. They look at these fruitcakes and I guess they think they're going to get productivity. Oh, if we could just make them happier by chopping off their genitals, everything will be great and they'll do even better. No bullshit. They're going to sit around and lament and cry, I can't go to work because my ex-penis really hurts. It's not kind of like a real vagina. No, exactly. Right? The feelings they have, folks, because they're operating on feelings, not logic and reason. Their feelings are damaged. Feelings are damaged. Consequently, they're not going to perform. That is what I want you to understand about what is happening. Why I cover that so thoroughly, so frequently. I don't enjoy it, what they're doing, because the casualties are the youths. And I do not believe, folks, in this thing that seems to be axiomatic, that because it's said it's true, and because it's true it must be said. Kids are our future. No, kids are their own future, right? And that's being stolen from them. Kids are not my future. I've made my future for myself. It's their turn to pick up their future. Right? I don't want to say children are my future, so I need to tell them what to do. No. Right? But as an adult, as parents, we're supposed to create situations whereby our children can become their potential, not some doctor or psychologist or teacher's idea of what their potential should be. It is tragic, absolutely tragic, and it is a war, and it is important. Right? Yes, our futures are linked. The youths of today, the centennials, the millennials, they're supposed to be working and producing. I mean, just in the time I filmed this video, I've noticed as I've driven by all of the things that need help and work in this world. Right? To keep the water flowing, to keep the lights on, to keep everyone employed. I've seen it. I'm passing it right now. And the how do I put this? The reward for human potential, hard work, and productivity. I'm passing it as I drive. I see it. And it's all being destroyed by the left. Absolutely destroyed. We understand their agenda. We know where they're going. See, they think they're being sneaky and fooling us, and it's just a few people. The number of fruitcakes in 5 years is going to be overwhelming. And it will not be because they're winning in 5 years. It will be because the casualties have already been suffered here. I want to say that again. The casualties of today are going to be, and I hate to use this comparison because there is no comparison between a casualty of war suffered by a member of the armed service and a casualty of a psychological war that is being quietly waged against children. But they're going to be as if they are now a casualty of war. They're going to be incapable of normal movement and thinking because of the damage that's done to them. Okay, that is a fact. We're going to see these casualties increase rapidly in the next 5 years, even though we can win the war today by stopping it, win the war in the next month or 2 months or 6 months or a year. But in 5 years, we're going to see the damage, right? It's like ending a war and everyone comes home and you see the damage done to the people. This is what we have. This is what we're facing. This is what is happening. And we have to stop it now to minimize the casualties. That is why it is so important. Once again, I don't want to talk about fruitcakes and how fucked up they are in the head. I don't want to see businesses damaged and destroyed. I don't want to see people's retirements destroyed because fucking InBev, Budweiser, or Target or any other corporation has gone absolutely off the stupid end. And they're damaging people's lives and investments. They need to have the shit suit out of them. Not the corporation, but the executives who made these decisions. It is called fiduciary failure, incompetence, etc. They have intentionally done this, taken these actions, and there is an impact on people everywhere. It needs to stop. That is why I am all over this constantly, as much and then sometimes more than Ukraine. The reason being, Ukraine is not American soldiers. It's not American Marines. It's not American sailors and airmen. It's their people, but they are literally blowing our money on a worthless cause that cannot be won. They will not win against the Russians. It is a meat grinder. It is a money-burning war. The money is transferred from us to the military-industrial complex, who then move it forward and make their profits and send it to Ukraine, where they waste it. It is not making nails and lumber to build a house, or asphalt and rock aggregate to make roads and bridges. It is not dirt they're sending over so those people can farm and produce food. They're making explosives to blow people up and to blow buildings up. That's not productive spending. It is destructive spending. It doesn't make room for new home builders and new road builders and new bridge builders to come in and new farmers to come in to make even more money. They're already capable. That house standing right there, that home is there, and it can serve people. You don't have to rebuild it every 5 years because of a war to make it useful. It's already useful. It is money well spent and invested. This is what we need to know and understand, folks, that the fight we're fighting, this SHTF battle is for our lives. And it is not a bunch of selfish shit. And it is not bashing the fruitcakes. It is pointing out that they are fruitcakes, that they are sick, that they are mentally disturbed, that they are suffering from a mental illness, and they need help. We don't need to pay for it all along in the rest of our lives. This is a war against us in America, our culture, traditions, and our laws. That's why I call on you for help all the time. I hope that this video has been instructive. I hope it's been somewhat illuminating for you. And I hope it's a message that you can pass on, because we need all the help we can get. We can win this. We just have to understand what we're up against and fight it well. You guys be cool, be safe. I'll see you again real soon.